John Hussey. It's not here. Jim DeRorian. Jim LaQueer.
Here.
Ann LaQueer.
Here.
Dalton Wagman.
Present.
Jennifer Eaton.
Here.
And Karen Hill is here. Topics unanticipated by the chair 48 hours in advance of the hearing. I do have a few things I'd like to add. I want to add 3.4, which is actually, we're going to move something around from correspondence. It's review, consider, and vote on response to open meeting law complaint against the Conservation Commission dated December 3rd, 2020, filed by Joan Savoy, filed with the town clerk. I'd like to move that up to 3.4. And then I'd like to add on as 3.5, discuss sending a letter about absences per the charter to Jim DeRorian. And I'm sorry I didn't get these to you guys in advance, and then there's 4.2 under correspondence, the letter from town clerk, acknowledgement of ethics and conflict of interest. So could I get a motion to add those to the agenda in the appropriate location?
So it's noted.
Can I?
Seconded.
Jim LaQueer, are you in favor of this?
Yes.
Ann LaQueer, are you in favor of this?
Yes.
Wagner, are you in favor of this?
Yes.
Jennifer Eaton, are you in favor of this?
Yes.
And I, Karen Hill, am in favor of this. Chair's report, I don't have anything. And 1.5, agent's report.
I'll just comment as we carry on.
1.6, approve 12 to 20 minutes. I'm not even sure these got sent out. They're done, but I'm not sure they got.
No, they didn't get sent out.
Okay. So I guess we're going to table these. I don't need a motion to table, do I?
Motion to
No.
table minutes from 12.2.
You don't need a motion, but if you're more comfortable doing that, go ahead.
I don't think, we'll just table it until next meeting
Okay.
so we can all really dig into them. 6:04, we have a 6:05 hearing, so I guess I have a minute to wait. I don't think there's anything we can do in a minute. Well, 3.1, do we have anything for that?
No, nothing. No.
Okay. So we'll.
For how long will that sort of float on our agenda?
Hopefully indefinitely. I would like to find out what what Mr. Shepard, how he is doing with his inquiry into the state, the Farming Bureau in particular.
Okay.
We will get a resolution to it. It's not going to just be there forever and ever and ever. So that's.
If you see.
So it'll stay on our agenda so long as it has not been resolved, and we'll keep on sort of delaying until we have something to bring up.
That's
Well,
good.
we're assuming that we're going to get something reasonably soon, just because, COVID messes everything up and, everything's just crazy. So we'll do what we can, and I'll reach out to Mr. Shepard shortly and see where he's at. Okay, it's 6:06. We have a 6:05 appointment. Continuation of notice of intent for Diane Silva / Iodized Family Trust, DEP file number 308-655. The applicant is Dushar Medillis for Diane Silva / Iodized Family Trust. The location is 59 West Meadow Road. The project is to restore historic wetlands and grades within a buffer zone to a 3-to-1 slope. Project is located in the ACEC and NHESP estimated rare habitats filing under the Wetlands Protection Act. And we have Stan present.
I'm here.
Hey, Stan.
Hi.
Hey, Stan.
Hello. So I guess, we've talked about this several times. We've all been to the site. I think everybody's been to the site now. And I guess it's a question of some of the members at the site walk thought that it would be premature to issue an order of conditions until we have gone through the earth removal permit with the ZBA. So if that's the case, we probably should just continue this until we have that. But if we want to issue an order of conditions now and make it subject to anything that the ZBA might say, then we could talk about it a little further. So rather than me drone on here for a while, if everybody's in agreement that we should go forward, I'm happy to. But if everybody feels like we should wait, then I guess we should just wait.
Karen, can I have the floor?
Yep.
I'm going to oppose that one because we have been playing games with this so long. Let's put this game in motion and assist in getting this thing resolved so it's off our back.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim. I agree with that, but
I don't. So I think that we at least have to be in some of the ZBA process. The filings have to at least be started, and that's part of the Wetlands Protection Act. That's actually in the Wetlands Protection Act, that you don't have to have approvals from everyone yet, but you have to be filing, what's that word? Consecutively. So.
concurrently.
Concurrently, that's what it is, currently. So.
Concurrently.
That's just, that's where I feel I stand. Everyone else has an opinion if they want to chime in.
So Karen, are you saying that we can't issue an order of conditions yet before they do a little bit of work on their side?
That's the theory, yes.
Okay.
Theoretically, we can do whatever we want to do. Theoretically.
Could I add something? I have all the applications pretty much ready to submit here for the ZBA and the Stormwater Committee. So if it's just a matter of us getting those submitted, and then you guys can hear this and issue an order of conditions, that we could continue this till the next meeting, and then we could move forward. I was under the impression that some of the commission members wanted us to get through the process with the ZBA and the stormwater permit before you guys would issue an order of conditions. And that could be, with everything that's going on, that could be 2 or 3 months. So if it's just getting the applications filed, then I think if we continued for a couple of weeks, we could put this thing to bed with you guys anyhow.
At least until we can get our mandatory referral comments in. So that's how I feel. Anyone else can chime in on this.
I have a question. I'm just in my notes from last time. I had written down the date 1/20.
That was the date that National Heritage reached out to Idice Family Trust with their order of conditions.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry.
Well, fine.
But could I comment real quickly on and follow up a bit on what Stan was saying, and also to what Jim had said as well. Perhaps I can bridge the two, or not. So Karen is right. The concurrency of permitting is really, I don't know necessarily if it's really a requirement. And my understanding is that irrespective of that, the commission can put together an order of conditions with a number of special provisions or special conditions. And just a few of those would encounter or include language, which I believe we already have in our standard order, which I would have to look at to confirm. That states that any outstanding local, federal, or state permits that are, in demand, they have to be part of the order, or they can be part of the order. And in this particular case, we have an outstanding NISA review that's sitting out there that's due to NHESP. And we also have a number of outstanding permits that Stan happened to just allude to, having applications ready to be submitted to the appropriate departments for their approval and their review. So yes, you could put together, you know, a conditional, very conditional order of conditions. At this point in time, I'm not prepared to go through them in its their totality. But I think that if you gave me, you know, a week or so, I might be able to put together a reasonable draft. And then you can look at it, make your comments, and decide at the next hearing whether or not we should proceed with that.
When is our next meeting scheduled?
Well, I believe it would ostensibly be the second Wednesday in January.
January 6th,
It's on the agenda for January 6th.
January 6th.
Okay, so if we don't issue an order of conditions tonight, at a bare minimum, it delays what they could do on their side until then, supposing we do?
Well, the fact of the matter is we can't, I mean, we could vote on just a standard order of conditions if that's what the commission's pleasure is. All I'm suggesting is that if you do that, I would think very hard and fast about what kind of special conditions would have to be added to that. I don't have any objection. In fact, I would recommend that that's what the commission thinks hard and fast about. I have faith that the other departments will get their permitting processes completed in a short manner. However, you know, back to Karen's original point about concurrency in the WPA. Keep in mind, the commission has discretion. They always have.
Karen,
Yes.
with all that we have confronted in this situation over on Meadow Road, you still have a couple of entities that have to be handled prior to us doing the order conditions. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Yes, they still need to go to the ZBA. They haven't done their MISA checklist. And somehow they're supposed to get a trash removal permit. And that seems a little wonky as to where that's coming from, whether it's a building department, the ZBA, I'm not sure. Stan could probably chime in on that, but those are all things, and some of that trash is in our jurisdiction. So we kind of need to know how that's going to be handled, in my opinion, in order to write orders of conditions.
Because we don't know, as Karen's alluding to, we don't know whether or not the work that's being done out there by, albeit the contractor or someone else, if they would disturb the area significantly more than what is disturbed as already. I don't know. I think, you know, on the one hand, putting together special conditions is going to take some time. And Karen had just alluded to, you know, again, the MISA report, the ZBA, the trash, and I believe there's earth removal as well that's associated with that, no?
Yes.
And,
ZBA.
you know, and just the timing of putting, or depending upon all these other parties putting together and ensuring that the permits that are required will be handled appropriately.
May I say something here?
Sure.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. It's been a long process, and for some reason, yes, it has now come to my attention that we need to file a MISA checklist and application fee, which I have started and had a few questions to get answered. I'm still trying to get those answers from Rebecca with Natural Heritage in order to be able to complete the application and send it out. And I hope I'm not out of line here, but I'm not sure how MISA was able to come up with their order of conditions in the January 27th, 2020 letter, when they reference a checklist and the restoration plan, et cetera, that was submitted with the NOI to Townsend as well back in February of 2019. So it seems to me at this point it's sort of a rerun of what took place back then, and for whatever reason, it just seems that the paperwork is not available. So therefore, they're requiring us to put that through. And from what I could gather from reading, doing research and filling out the application, there is I could not find any reference to any kind of cleanup requirements for the filing. And I know that is something that Rebecca was bringing up, but I have, in the last few months, have extensively reviewed that property by foot, taken pictures, and I can tell you at this point that what little cleanup or trash removal that I see that's in the wetlands and in the endangered species habitat is minimal. It is confined where I believe it can be accessed with minimal disturbance to the area in order to reach it. It is definitely still on the property line. Has not, from what I could gather, it has not gone into the in a sense to the other side where it's close to the wetland brook and the river. And actually, most of what does need to be done is removal of some campers and box trailers, which are right there on the access road. And again, there, the conditions from the January 27th letter stated that as long as we were doing this work within the October 15th to April 15th timeframe, we would be fine because that's the habitat. The turtles have now migrated to their winter place and they're not around. And that the other condition that they had from that letter was that we file we record that letter. I have now since recorded it, which they've accepted. And the second is that from what I can, the last is that from what I can gather, and this is part of, or at least the last piece of what I need to gather in order to complete the MISA checklist, is that the restoration plan that was initially done by Stan and was submitted to the town as well as to MISA back in February of 2019 is still viable, and other than bringing everyone right up to date is where the property actually stands at this point, which you people were very gracious enough to come up and look, walk the property on Saturday, which gets you right up to the minute. So I just feel that I realize that there's protocol as far as certain timeframes have to be met, but the more snow we get on the ground, the harder it's going to be able to remove some of this, and especially just for safety alone, never mind the fact that once it freezes, it now becomes part of the ground, even though it's pretty much sitting on top of it, which can cause a little more disturbance than we might want. So I think I would err on the fact that if we can keep you informed exactly what's going on, also what NEPA is requiring, that we let them know beforehand where, when, what, how, why cleanup is being done, then there's, I don't see that there's any issue, there should be any further delay, and hopefully we can work towards that. I'm just afraid that if the weather isn't on our side this winter, we may be finding ourselves having to wait after April 15th. And I'm just not sure where that's going to leave everybody at this, at this point. We will probably lose the sale to Mass Wildlife. I don't know how long they can keep things in a sense on the books moving. I don't know.
Anna, this is Dave. If I could just comment, please. Thank you very much thank you for that discussion, those comments. Thank you very much. So I think what is before us, and I want to hear Dalton and Jen and Ann and Jim as well, please. There's multiple issues here, and amongst them, obviously, is this order of conditions or not. But as a part of that, we're looking at the site itself, which we observed last Saturday, which by all accounts is revegetated. And there were, as Stan had alluded to in the prior hearing, we've got significant volume of facultative plants. So back to the plan that was presented to the commission regarding the restoration as such. It was about seed mix distributed over 3 different zones and a differing seed mix for each zone, something along those lines, versus what we had observed last Saturday, which was a reasonably thriving environment. And then attached to that is the work how the work is going to be done back there. The equipment, the sloping, the design as such. So that would be part of the order of conditions, obviously.
One thing, can I add one?
And I can, in the meantime, I can perhaps try to draft something, and the commission can decide at the next hearing whether or not those conditions are worthy of voting positively on. Or not at all. You can decide right now that you don't even want to go down that road.
Could I add a comment?
Yes.
All the trash that Anna is alluding to is subject to approval by MESA as to timing and how it's going to be disposed of. But from what I've observed, most of that isn't within any jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission. Not to say that it isn't relevant to the project, but it's kind of a separate issue that I think Anna is dealing with MESA on that, with filing a new MESA application for the trash cleanup. The previous application, I don't think included that, although in my opinion, the previous application should have been construed to include everything that had to happen to the site, but that isn't how Natural Heritage saw it. So I just wanted to comment that, like the pile of tires, the trailers, the campers and all that, that's all not part of the jurisdiction that we're talking about here. It is part of the whole project, so it's relevant, but it's not, I don't think it's something that we need to get too hung up on. I'd rather focus on the conservation issues at hand with this hearing and get an order of conditions for that. And those other issues will work themselves out in however they work themselves out.
Karen, can I have the floor?
Please, yes, sir.
Okay, if I'm not mistaken, Stan, you had mentioned that National Heritage is almost impossible to get a hold of right now.
They're kind of difficult to deal with at the moment. They are. Not that they're not typically, but right now they're all working remotely, and it's kind of hard to get.
In the event that they don't, in the event that they're not responding to us as a commission, do we have the authority through the state? I know other organizations in the town have those opportunities. Do we have to supersede National Heritage?
I don't think so. It's a totally different permitting process. It's really not looking at any of the things that you guys look at. It's not looking at wetlands or buffer zones or anything. It's strictly looking at habitat for the endangered species. Yeah. So they're kind of, they all fall under the big environmental umbrella, but it's really a totally different issue than the Wetland Protection Act.
Okay, now we're in a situation that we're reestablishing natural terrain that was damaged by man when they went in and did notorious work. In the event that we handle ourselves accordingly and get everything down as far as the order of conditions, and we submit that, is that going to put us in a forward motion? Because I think this has gone on way too long.
I think that would be a huge step in moving this thing along. And I think that Dave's suggestion of possibly having something written up with all the standard conditions and the special conditions that we've talked about over the last year in there, and then we could discuss those. And at the next meeting, which is January 6th, and in that interim period, we'll have everything else. We'll have all the other balls rolling forward with the stormwater permit and the ZBA, the earth excavation permit.
Okay.
And Anna, Anna is working or trying to work with Natural Heritage to get them to issue a new letter relative to, I believe, the trash cleanup and everything else. So.
Yes, I'm in agreement that the trash cleanup is not in our jurisdiction. So, Madam Chairman, how are we going to handle this?
Well, I think the smart thing to do would be to continue this to the next meeting, have Dave work up some form of orders that we could review between now and then. If we have special conditions, we should send those to Dave and he can add them in. We can discuss this all at the next meeting. Mm-hmm. And whether or not we want to issue those at the next meeting, because by then we'll know if they've actually submitted all their permits. They may hear back from NISA and Natural Heritage. Who knows? Miracles can happen. It's Christmas.
All right. Yeah. Anyhow, Madam Chairman, I'm going to start using that term because I think it's more appropriate. I'm a firm believer that we should go forward with what we have at hand and let Dave do his thing so we can discuss that one more time. I'm not worried about a snowstorm. I'm not worried about the winter because we have the equipment to beat all those odds that we didn't have 30 years ago. And if they got to go in and do this through the winter and the cold months when it's workable, let's see what happens there.
Well, the predictions are we're supposed to have a warm winter, so let's see.
Does anyone want to make a motion to continue this hearing until January 6th?
Dave?
Make a motion.
As long as Dave has the tentative new plan drawn up so we know
Actually,
what's
Karen,
next time.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I don't think that won't cost us any time anyhow, because if we discussed everything tonight and then Dave had to write it all up, we'd be back on the 6th to vote on it anyhow. So we're just kind of flipping the script. Dave's going to have everything written up that you can vote on the 6th.
Okay.
So we really aren't costing ourselves any amount of time here, one way or the other.
Okay.
So before we vote, should we have any discussion as to what we'd like to have done?
Yes, actually, we will discuss everything at the meeting, and hopefully if you have special conditions that you're thinking of, you could send them off to Dave beforehand, or you could bring them up at the meeting too. I don't, it could be something that you think of right then and there, and, so. it's
So
not-
we're to discuss it at next meeting and not at this meeting?
Yes,
Correct.
yep.
Okay. That's fine.
Well, I would say that I think if you had something, that it's a public hearing that's open. If you had something that you wanted Dave to incorporate into the special conditions, it wouldn't be inappropriate to ask that or discuss that now, so that it would be sure that Dave would get that in what he's going to produce as for a document.
Yeah, excellent. Dalton, sure. If you have a special condition that you would like to have addressed, for sure, tell us and I'll be sure to get an email off to you.
So having seen the site now, we have some enormous loam piles there, and there was question last time about whether to, I think, reincorporate that or leave what has vegetated just as it is. And my opinion is that we should reincorporate all of that loam, redistribute it around the area. I have no concerns about whether that's going to revegetate. I think it'll be fine. But if it came from that area, I think that it should be redistributed as it was before to the best of their ability. I think that's reasonable. As far as seeding, it sounds like that's standard protocol, and that's fine. I think it'll reseed even without that, but I think it's a good idea to reseed it. There's an area where I had stood up on, and you have these loam piles that are sort of in front of it, and there's a cliff. And so in addition to regrading, I imagine that loam would be redistributed along that wetland. But my question is, where it looks like they sort of extracted, whether it's sand or rocks, whatever, how is that to be regraded? Are we bringing in fill from offsite to correct the slope?
No,
Are
there's enough material on site that they can flatten those slopes out.
Okay, so that's the expectation that we'll sort of reincorporate, right?
Right, and that's what the specifications are, that those slopes steeper than 3:1 will be brought to 3:1, whether they pull the top of the slope back or move some of the material around. There's piles of material at all those excavation areas that they can incorporate to bring those slopes back to something that's safe.
So that what area that we have right now with the giant loam piles, would you redistribute within that wetland?
If that's a condition that the commission wants to impose, that would be what would happen, sure.
It would make sense to return that. What do you guys think?
Well, so they're going to be driving through one part of that wetland to get to that loam pile and to regrade and do other
Yes.
things. So they're going to have to restore that one section. I guess it's come back pretty well all on its own, so it doesn't need that loam put back into it, other than where they're going to have to restore it from going through it. They could use that loam on the slopes to stabilize the slopes and get some vegetation growing on the slopes. I don't see it needing any more of that loam added into the wetland as is. It seems to be doing fine without it.
Yeah, correct, Karen. I like your way of thinking. That's good. Yep.
But
So to me, to leave the loam as it is, to not reincorporate it in a smart way, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I don't really have a lot of confidence in it just sitting there right beside the wetland as far as will it erode right into it. It doesn't make sense.
That pile will be removed. It'll be removed one way or the other. It'll either be spread out and used on site to revegetate some of the slopes, but those piles that are in that wetland area are proposed, they're going to be taken out of there.
So the idea is to extract it.
Remove it from that area, yes, and use it wherever it's appropriate to use on site.
Okay, so you're not going to just pick it up and take it off the property.
Not unless there turns out to be excess material, but I don't imagine that there will be a whole lot of excess material.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm anticipating that hopefully there will be a little bit of excess because we did do the A&R lot, and one of the agreement was that hopefully materials from the site, there would be materials from the site that would help with the doing the septic and the site plan when that is sold.
I don't think they need any material for the septic for that, Anna. And I'm not sure that material is suitable for a septic system anyhow. So that would be up to the Board of Health to determine whether or not that material on site was suitable for septic. I don't know the answer to that, but.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm not for doing an extraction from the area that would be within our purview, which is the wetland, to recoup costs. I'm not for that. If it's from that area, if it's from elsewhere on the property, I don't care.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely from our point of view, the point of view of the owners, majority of the owners, is that that it's to be used for what's necessary there, and no further. It's to make things safe, and there should be no further digging or.
If I can intervene, I don't believe that the material on site after the jobs that we have to tell them about is going to be relevant to what Anna's talking about.
Right, I agree, Jim, that the loam and that pile of sorted stone there aren't going to be usable for.
No, and that's the discretion of another body. That's not the discretion of us, so.
Although I'm with Dalton, I don't want to see any material going down the road.
No,
Nothing should leave the property.
Especially if it's within our purview in that wet area, it doesn't make sense to take it from that area.
Okay, does anybody else have anything they want to chime in on?
Isn't there a motion on the floor that was going to come up before my mouth?
No, there's not a motion on the floor because the chair didn't ask for a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, Madam Chairman. We got to have some fun in the Zoom stuff.
Would you like me to make a motion to continue this to the January 6th meeting?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
I make a motion that we
You kind of already did.
continue this to the January 6th meeting, and that would be the Iodized Family Trust, DEP number 308-655.
Can I get a second?
Seconded.
Thank you. Stan, we will see you on.
All in favor?
Yep.
Yay.
Wait a minute. No. No.
Roll call?
Jim LeQuay, are you in favor of this?
Yes.
Dan LeQuay, are you in favor of this? Dalton Wagman, are you in favor of this?
Yes.
Jennifer Eaton, are you in favor of this?
Yes.
And Karen Hill's in favor of this. Boy, we're having a fun night tonight. Okay, Stan, thank you.
Thanks, Stan.
Thanks, Dan.
Anna.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
It's okay to say that, right?
Yes, it is. It's America. We can do whatever we want. We're free.
Except for you can't go to a restaurant.
Good point. But we can still eat at home and say Merry Christmas to everybody.
Thank you, Jim. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
All right.
So that leaves us at 3.2. 0 South Row Road, land acquisition ownership and fee response from Board of Selectmen on questions posed at December 2nd, 2020 Conservation Commission hearing.
Thus far, I've not heard anything.
Okay. That's easy. Discuss converting hearings to second and fourth Wednesday each month. This is 3.3. On our website and in the past, prior to COVID, our meetings were every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. Everything's gotten kind of wonky here, so I was wondering if we want to go back to the second and fourth, if we want to stick to how we're doing it right now, which is the first and the third. If that's the case, then we have to change our website, but that's no big deal. I just was wondering if anyone had conflicts with the second or fourth, if anyone cares either way.
I have no opinion on it. I can do whatever.
Yeah. Us too.
That's fine to me.
That having been said, since we have a continuation of the Iodized Family Trust scheduled for the 6th, we may have to meet on the 6th just to deal with this.
She's saying, I don't want to meet on the first Wednesday of the month. I can't do that.
Oh,
Okay.
That's a conflict in my schedule, and that's why I got on the commission, because it wasn't the first Wednesday of the month.
All right.
So to be clear then, Jim, you can't attend a hearing on the 6th of January?
I cannot be here for the first Wednesday of the month. I could be here because I won't be here, but normally on the first of the month, I have another commitment.
Okay, all right, good to know.
Okay. The other thing too is we could, if Stan and the Iodized Family Trust, if they sign a waiver giving us more than 21 days to act, we can continue this to, well, maybe we can't, to the 13th.
Madam Chairman, if you want to have a special meeting on the 6th this time, I can do that. But when we get back from going south, I won't be able to.
Thanks, Jim.
That's excellent.
Okay?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so do we need a motion for this?
No.
No.
All right, so we'll go back to the 2nd and the 4th Wednesdays. Except for December 6th, we'll be meeting to hear that. And then I guess, should we go to the 4th Wednesday, Dave? So we'll have one on the 6th and then we'll go to the 4th.
Let me look at the calendar because I do know that I'm anticipating two NOIs to come in and an RDA. And I'd like to be able to respond to them certainly within 21 days. I haven't gotten the full packages yet, but I anticipate that'll be before the commission, certainly in January.
Okay. So we'll see how that all works out.
In January, maybe in another anomaly, but for sure February we want to get back into the groove.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, 3.4, review, consider, and vote on response to open meeting law complaint against Conservation Commission dated December 3rd, 2020, filed by Joan Savoy, on file with the town clerk.
Wait, is this a new complaint?
It is.
No.
Yeah.
Emailed that last week.
Okay.
So can I get a motion that we allow town council to respond to that?
I make a motion that we allow town council to explore into that.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Jim McQuarrie, are you in favor of this?
Yes.
Yes.
Dalton Wagman,
Yes.
Jennifer Eaton,
Yes.
and Karen Hill's in favor.
May I ask about that?
You can ask about the complaint.
Yeah, what's wrong?
Trying to remember. Oh, this goes back to.
We're going backwards in time.
Is it before my time?
No, it was before you made your answer, your goal. You've already said you were in favor.
He just wants to know what the complaint is.
Is that acceptable?
Well, a copy of the complaint was sent out, I believe, to all the commissioners for their review and comment.
Okay. It goes back to the meeting of the September 17th. Still.
Okay.
So this gets to 3.5, which is discuss absences per the charter. Let me find.
Chair,
In the charter, we
Chair.
have Townsend's charter.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry.
Nope.
I indicated to you earlier about my time,
Okay.
so a few more from me, then I unfortunately have to be dismissed.
Okay.
But I'm listening. Please carry on. Carry on. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good luck, Dave.
Thanks.
Good luck, Dave. Merry Christmas to you if we don't speak with you before.
Oh, yeah, right. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Well, plenty of snow on the
I
ground.
like that.
Okay, Dave. Good night.
Good night, Dave.
Good night. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Stay
Merry
safe, folks.
Christmases.
I put a candy cane under your pillow.
Oh my gosh. That's a lovely thing to look forward to.
Good night. All right, so in the charter, we have a section 7-11. It's loss of office or excessive absence. If any person appointed to serve as a member of a multiple member body shall fail to attend 4 or more consecutive meetings, or 1/2 or more of all meetings of such body held in 1 calendar year, the remaining members of the multiple member body may, by a majority vote of the remaining members of such body, declare the office to be vacant, provided, however, that not less than 10 days prior to the date said vote is scheduled to be taken, the body has given in hand or mailed by registered or certified mail, return receipt requested, notice of such proposed pending vote to the last known address of such person. So boiling that down is, if we feel that we need to tell Mr. Derourian to either show up or he's not going to be considered a member of this commission anymore, we have to send him a letter stating that he needs to be present at our next meeting and continue to be present, or we can at the next meeting declare his spot vacant.
I think that should be done.
I agree.
I agree.
Okay.
You have to show up. I mean, there are a lot of really good people here in this town who might like to donate their time and show up.
Agreed. If you made a commitment to the commission, you should be here.
I agree.
I think that you can miss a few meetings here and there and stuff happens, but
And give notice maybe. Oh, I'm sick. I can't make it.
yeah. But, and I've been texting him because he hasn't provided us an email address to let him know of our meetings. He has no problem calling me, so I know he gets his texts, but he hasn't responded back to either my texts. So that having been said, can I get a motion to send a letter to Mr. Derourian to request his presence at our next meeting if he so chooses?
So noted.
Seconded.
That was quick. Okay. Jim McQueer, are you in favor of this?
I'm in favor. Yes.
Ann McQueer, are you in favor of this?
Of course.
Dalton Wagman, are you in favor of this?
Yes.
Jennifer Eaton, are you in favor of this?
Yes.
And I am in favor of this.
Trying to get in tune with the Zoom and stuff.
That brings us to 4.1, correspondence. We got an email from Veronica Kell requesting comment on land stewardship funding resources available for Campbell Farm conservation restriction. Dave sent her out a letter stating pretty much to the effect that the town itself doesn't have any means or any plan for stewardship, nor do we. So she of all people should know that, but he pointed that out. But we do have funding in our land acquisition account that we can use literally for anything land-wise. So if we do need money, we have that. It's roughly $60,000. So we just have to note that we got a letter from her. And then we have 4.2, which is a letter from town clerk, which I think Dave should have emailed you all, the ethics and conflict of interest forms that, and so you need to print that other one, the signature page, and sign it, and we have to get it back to Dave, who'll give it to Kathy, or give it to Kathy, whatever, and let us know that you've done so that we can keep track of this.
Oh, I don't think I have that anymore.
Madam Chairman, does that come to us through the mail? How do we get that?
That was in the email.
Oh, email. Emails I'm not in tune with either. Where's my feather pen? I need an inkwell.
Okay.
You take it easy, Karen.
Let's rein this in. So, There is one other thing, and I've got to touch base with Kathy. We've got the signature page for the conservation restriction on Campbell Farm to sign. It has to be notarized. So I don't know how we're going to handle that, because we all would have to get together in front of Kathy for her to notarize it. So I don't know if she could do this on a Saturday or if it has to be a Tuesday night, because I know Dalton has a schedule that he has to, I'm flexible. I don't know about everybody else.
Yeah, we are too.
Madam Chairman, can I make a suggestion?
Yep.
Okay, if we got to do that with Kathy, we know, I believe she closes the town hall at 4.
Right.
If we can get over there together and to meet in the parking lot, she can see us all in person and she can notarize everything for us in the parking lot.
Right, but I don't know how that fits in with Dalton's schedule.
Okay, well, we'll have to find out. He might have to go independently. I'm not sure.
I'm not either. So I've got to check with Kathy first of all and see how she wants to do this.
Okay.
And then I guess we'll have to go through Dave, but I have to find out how Kathy wants to do this. I was all set to just have you guys all meet with me somewhere and we would sign it, but then I realized it needed to be notarized and you have to be present to have to notarize. So
Okay.
What document is she wanting us to notarize?
it's the Campbell Farm conservation restriction. We have to sign on it. And then the selectmen sign it, their own page, so that we're accepting the conservation restriction.
Okay. And I can't do that privately, like at my bank.
I'll check with Kathy first.
I'll have Christmas Eve off, or Christmas.
You got a present for me in your bag?
I have tomorrow off because of the snowstorm. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to meet for the snowstorm?
No.
No.
Probably the only person that would be able to make it there. If my transportation holds up.
Let me see how Kathy wants to do this, if there's a way we can do this. Otherwise, I wasn't able to call her by 4 o'clock today, so.
I have a quick question, if I may.
Please.
So you mentioned that we have funding for land acquisition. Is that funding that is afforded to us per annum, or is this just a lump sum that's, like a nest egg?
It's a revolving account that actually almost every year, depending upon the economy, we ask for $5,000 to be added to it at town meeting. Sometimes we've asked for up to $15,000 when we've had good years financially for the town. We have forest cutting money that goes into there, depending upon the property. We did a forest cutting on Meeting House Park. Any money generated on Meeting House Park has to stay with Meeting House Park, so it has its own separate fund.
I see.
But we have this land acquisition fund that we can use this for anything. We can create trails, we can create habitat, we can do all kinds of things on any of our properties with this money. It's not necessarily set aside to acquire land.
That answers my question. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anything else on that? I'll just have to let you know, because we want to get this signed as soon as possible, and this has been going on for almost 3 years now, so.
Oh, I had a question, Karen. I had asked about, I think it was the last meeting, I had asked about possibly signage for the conservation restriction for, prohibiting snowmobile and ATV, stuff like that. So is that something that the town pays for, or we would pay for out of that revolving account?
We can pay for out of that revolving account.
Okay.
And verbiage has gone into the final draft of the conservation restriction, so.
Okay.
We're allowed to put the signage up.
Awesome.
Is that through?
I have one more question. It's peripheral. So within the state forest here in town, if it's within a wetland boundary, that's within our purview, even though it's state land?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
They have come before us with RDAs, and we did have a notice of intent from Pearl Brook because they're going to be restoring the
beach.
So, they do still have to file with us.
What became of that project?
I have no idea.
Okay, because it hasn't ended up back on our plate, I don't think.
So I'd have to.
Which project are you referring to?
What, the
Pearl Hill, the beach.
Oh, Pearl Hill Beach.
Beach
Okay.
sand.
Yeah, we just asked for a simple test of,
right.
They may still be trying to go through the procurement process. Government moves so fast.
Oh, excellent.
So, just gotta say. And they should be getting in contact with Dave when they're getting ready to do something. So I haven't heard from him that he's even heard back from them. So, but actually, I will make a note to have him check that. See where they're at. Okay, items for discussion at the next meeting, 5.0. The same as usual, 59 West Meadow. 0 Main Street. Probably South Row Road again. Anybody else have anything?
I don't think so. Just if we have anything to mention to Dave about order of conditions.
Yes, just
For-
email
okay.
me that.
Okay.
Anytime. We can always add them that night too. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
And, something may spring into your head and it's like, no, I want this too. So.
Okay.
Advertisements and conferences, 6.0. There aren't any this time of year. 7.0, meeting tentatively scheduled for January 6, 2021. 2021.
Get rid of 2020.
2020.
This only's on CBS only.
Which brings us to that magical part of the night.
A motion to adjourn?
In the queer motions to adjourn
I've
at
been robbed.
58.
I've been robbed.
Can I get a second?
Seconded.
Okay. So, Jim LaQueer, are you in favor of this?
Yes.
Yes.
Dalton Wagman
Yes.
and Jennifer Eaton
Yes.
and Karen Hill is in favor of this also. Good meeting tonight, people.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Madam Chair.
Thanks, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Even Lila
Merry
says
Christmas,
hi, everybody.
everyone.
Here's Lila.
And good to see